G'day, this is a Dragon Barrows video. I've been thinking about this particular subject for a couple of years now, and which footy show does it better? The NRL footy show, hosted for many years by Paul Borton, or the AFL Footy show, hosted by its longtime mainstay Sam Newman. In this case, as it pains me to be a New South Wales resident, I'll have to side with the Melbourne-based the AFL Footy show. Let me explain it to you in this way. The NRL Footy show, it's all about the stitch up. Fatty Borden acts more like the college dropout, or pushes an agenda without hard-hitting facts about what he's actually talking about. Unlike the long-running AFL host, Sam Newman, he actually does speak a lot of sense. Like when he chopped down the Indigenous round, he chopped down the multicultural idea, chopped down the gay, or actually the homosexual thing where one club was going to come out with a rainbow-esque banner and that. Sam Newman says, I am a white Anglo Protestant male, and if you give a round dedicated to me, I will be the first in line to tell you, get on with playing the game. Don't make it all about politics. Don't make it about this agenda or that agenda. That's what I find refreshing with the AFL Footy show. They deal with the politics quite well, and with someone like Sam being the elder statesman of the actual show, it's rewarding to see. Like, I know a few people on the show said, "Oh, Sam, you're a dickhead. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Sam Good, you can't boo Sam Good because it's a racist thing." Let's just say this: in sport, like, I'm wearing an AWF Australasian Wrestling Federation singlet, and there's a lot of booing and cheering on in the professional wrestling scene. I boo someone from the Middle East. It's not because I don't like Middle Eastern people. It's because I don't like how he acts, and that is what the AFL clearly put out. And there was this big thing with sports doping and that, the ASADA things, and a particular publication, I will not name names because in this case the fools know themselves, because Sam literally tore them a new arsehole, and literally lifted up the paper and said, you go after the Essendon Bombers coach, you go after the Essendon Football Club. How dare you go after them? How dare you plaster them as guilty before the actual thing has come to fruition when it comes to the investigation. And this was the first within the first couple of weeks of Asada going after all sports in Australia, including different codes of football. The Australian Football League, the National Rugby League, the National Rugby Union, or the Australian Rugby Union squads, netball, and other such things. And just because Asada said, "Oh, we're looking in this club, this club, this club, this person, that person," we're looking at this whole organisation, and Mr. Jim Hurd and the Essendon Bombers happen to be on that list, and you got newspapers in Melbourne, Western Australia, South Australia, all printing off the thing like, "Oh, Jim Hurd under pressure because of Asada's investigation. Jim Hurd is guilty," and all this other stuff. And you just have Sam just going, "You know what? I'm sick of you. You guys, you the media, you have to get your heads out of your asses and make sure that you report things correctly, because people in the future won't believe a word that you said." And guess what? That Sam Newman unknowingly had played a game of Nostradamus. Because nowadays there are papers who subsequently have associated themselves in slamming Essendon Football Club and Mr. Jim Hurd. Those papers are literally going under, and same with broadcasting commissions that have slammed certain people during the Asada trials. They're going down too. Sam Newman predicted it. Unlike on the NRL Footy show during the same time with the Cronulla Sharks, they went, "Oh, the Sharks! How disgraceful did they put the game in disrepute? Like, oh, they slandered And Fatty was the first one to draw that sword. He was the first one to go swing, chop. Or, as a Bugs Bunny cartoon would go, Hassan chop. Just got firstly draw the broadsword, raise it above his head like a He-Man wannabe, and just slammed the blade down. With the rest of the panel going, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, Fatty, you're right, Fatty, you're right." But yeah, on the AFL Footy show, there was a lively debate over panelists who supported the newspaper and panelists that supported Sam's position on the whole thing. That's why I find that's one reason I find the AFL Footy show far superior than the NRL Footy show. Another reason why the AFL don't have Bo Ryan, or that fella that loves to literally do some parody of some song and go, "Oh," and laugh about it, when his career was absolutely shit-faced from day one of him entering the majors. The AFL Footy show, on the other hand, has had a lot more worthwhile stars on the show, like Mr. Shane Crawford. At least Mr. Shane Crawford did something for his club. At least Mr. Shane Crawford did so much for the promotion of his code. But yet you got all these idiots that go onto the NRL footy show, joke around, play around, get into scandals, and they go on with it. But when someone messes up and they confess, they boot them off. Like Mr. Matthew Johns. He messed up. He confessed. He should have been given some time off, like literally given a little time to get his life back together again, and to return to the NRL footy show. Actually, one of the main reasons why I continue to watch the show is because he is serious, but yet he's equally as funny. If he stayed on and Fatty left, I would have said, you know what, it would have been a full-on head-to-head intelligence and humor when it comes to the big battle of the footy shows. It would have been a decent warfare between Matthew Johns in the NRL footy show versus Sam Newman in the AFL footy show. Another thing is politics. Another thing is alleged racism. If there was an Aboriginal, not a racism as in some Looney Tune black versus white thing. I look at Neil deGrasse Tyson and he says there's only one race on this one superior race on this planet, and it's called the human race. That covers all people from all around the world. That is what the true race is. Look at science fiction. Races are of different alien beings, but that's different for a different video. And if I know this for a fact, if there's an NRL player who said, "Oh, I'm depressed because a whole heap of people, like a whole heap of white fans, boo me," that's just wrong. And Fatty and the boys go, "Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, booing you is being disrespectful to you. You booing the..." That's what they would do. But Sam Newman, he loved, in his own words, he said, "Don't be surprised if you do an action which quite a lot of people would find intimidating, threatening, if not being an offensive or threatening. Do not be surprised if you hear a boo coming your way. Don't be surprised if you get called a monkey. Don't be surprised if you get called an ape. Don't be surprised if they want to jump over the barricade and knock your block off. and he was addressing the most disgraceful recipient of Australian of the Year, Adam Good. You're a professional, suck it up, you little insignificant worm. And that's me addressing Adam Good. And Sam Newman, over a period of time during this whole debacle, had literally said, "What about all these Black American boxers that have defeated white men over the years, have won championships in more hostile territory than what Adam Goods has it? Adam Goods nowadays has it pretty calmly, pretty sweet, pretty neato, pretty not that bad. In comparison to someone like a Joe Frazier or Sugar Ray Leonard, who in the 1960s, who have won titles in the 1960s, or boxing heavyweight titles in the 60s, under a more skin pigment hating environment, where the lighter skin pigment, as in the white people, really wanted to and did do a lot of harm to George Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Reuben Hurricane Carter. That's what Sam Newman was saying. That Adam Goods, he just got booed. Getting booed is nothing compared to what actually did happen to dark-skinned or extremely dark-skinned athletes in times gone by. I, as a wrestling fan, knows this only too well. Bearcat Wright. He's one of the first African Americans to have won the US heavyweight title from the American Wrestling Alliance. And he won that title around the same time period as Reuben Hurricane Carter getting handcuffed, wrongfully tried, and sent to prison. He actually held it during the whole trial. And you know how many Southern light pigment wrestling fans wanted to kill him? They literally had broken bottles, homemade shivs, all ready to kill Bearcat Wright. But the simple reason is he was dark-skinned and the US champion. The same thing happened to various other people in the US, and there would have been a couple of Aboriginal wrestling champions here in Australia. They've actually been stabbed and beaten up long before Adam Good was even born. And that's what Sam Newman was explicitly saying. But again, in the NRL Footy show, they would have agreed with the Aboriginal athlete and just went, yeah, it's racist, without having an open debate on which is which. Now, the grand finale. The grand finale reason why the NRL Footy show is far less than wonderful compared to the true superiority of the AFL Footy show is the grand final, the actual grand final shows. The AFL Footy show actually puts pomp and circumstance into their themes, into their grand final. Doing different news, having the panelists do big musical numbers. Something that you would see on on the corner of Broadway and this street in New York City. The last one I do remember was Shane Crawford being literally sitting on the back shelf of a 1959 Cadillac. It was a beautiful blue Cadillac, and it was like, and the song was Grease Lightning, and he was like, "Go Grease Lightning," and they go, and the car go, "Oh Grease Lightning." Then Sam Newman came down to some Elvis Presley thing, and that was around Shane Crawford's retirement, and Eddie McGuire was still a part of the show, and Eddie McGuire came down to something to what was it, a Johnny Cash number, and you just see this pomp and this circumstance, because that's what the grand final is. It's a pomp. It is a circumstance of the occasion. Then they got the two teams. What like the two team banners flying proudly in the on the stage, and you got the team captains politically sledging the other team. You have the coaches sledging, and you've got the two different locker rooms between the two different camps, and they're going to say, and they literally going full gusto, full bore on how we're gonna beat, you know what, the champ, that trophy will be in our trophy case. There's no one there's that other team not gonna stop us. That was actually going on. That actually happened in that show. The following week, the NRL. The grand final. Was I supposed to? What am I doing? What was I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. I am doing this thing on the AFL Footy show versus NRL on the grand final. Whoa! You see? That's what the NRL Footy show grand final is like. It's like switching on to Channel 9. Okay. Okay. League of Their Own, okay. Okay, that's good enough. Sign up for a sheep again. What about that today? What happened? Very important, did something stupid. Bo Ryan, you're a total fuckwit. You're making me so tired. I'm so tired. That is what I would call extremely boring. And to have Phil Gould, one of their higher statesman guest panelists, compared a slow rugby league game to the greatest of all sporting spectaculars, the World Wrestling Entertainment's WrestleMania. He should actually get a pair of glasses from Specsavers and see it is the other way around. Actually, the most boring match. Actually, the most boring segment in a trash bag wrestling league. It's just that much better. Just that much better. Then, the NRL Grand Final show. They might as well just have one show at the beginning of the year, one show at the end of the year. Screw everything else because Matthew Johns is doing a better job on Fox Sports. And he's a one-man wrecking machine. And if anyone from Channel 9 is watching this, just know that it saddens me to be a New South Welshman. And for me to truly sit down on a Thursday night and properly enjoy watching the NRL footy show, I would rather wait until like the early hours of Thursday morning, late Wednesday evening to watch the AFL footy show. Man, just thinking about the NRL footy show makes me so drowsy. They do have their comedians that come on and do their thing. They both have talking about the game and that, but it's more important than the actual game itself. What needs to be done is, if the NRL footy show wants to survive, reformat it straight away. Make it more like the AFL. At least by that time you'll have a lot more competition. I'm Dragon Burrows, and I support this message.